from the Monday win. Whoop, whoop. That was solid. And talk a little bit about some of the interesting things that he talked about after the game: run defense, pass defense, our running game, their running game, what we need to improve. Guys, so let's get into it. Okay, guys. So if you like what you see here, if this is your first time, consider liking and subscribing so more Charger fans can get information about the Bolt Bros and what we're doing here. Again, we're just big fans, and we just want to continue talking about the Chargers and connecting with you, the fans of the Chargers. So, guys, let's get into it. Let's go into the notes of Brandon Staley, and we'll go from there. So, all right. So let's go into Brandon Staley's notes. First and foremost, guys, amazing game. I will put the description to this as well below. This is his locker room speech. Absolutely amazing. Vato got a ball. And by the way, look at his knee. He was, this is Mike Davis. He was probably not going to play. I don't know if you know that or not. He talked about it specifically in his postgame show, his comments. Apparently he had a big knee injury. This is clearly some sort of soft cast that he wore the entire game. And, look, he had a great game. I mean, the fact that he was out there, we needed him, and he just absolutely killed. He got a game ball. Absolutely incredible. So great seeing him be successful, and, we expect more from him moving forward. So we'll get into this, guys. So a couple things. Injury update for Corey Linsley. Apparently he was pulled. I do think it was something upstairs that somebody saw upstairs. They just completely pulled him out. I think it was a concussion protocol where upstairs said something, hey, he looks like he's a little bit woozy. Let's take him out of the game. I don't know that he really was or wasn't or whatnot, but either way, they pulled him. But they're both listed day-to-day. Trey Pipkins, man, he's been great. His MCL was re-aggravated, but he is listed day-to-day. Just bumps and bruises otherwise, and so that's good, right? We're exiting games without any real issues or any problems, which is absolutely incredible. So it's good to see that. That's just a really good thing, to see us not really struggle with more injuries, guys. I mean, good God, right? Let's just please stay healthy. Other thing, too, with Mike Williams and Joey Bosa, nothing new to report. I will say this. Joey Bosa said some things on I think, Instagram that ultimately he is working hard to come back, right? I would venture a guess we could see him. It'll either be Dolphins or Titans. You just kind of never know, right? A groin injury, he had a full surgery. I mean, that's a lot, guys. It's a lot. So let's get into really the meat and potatoes of this video and talk about Justin Herbert's performance and his passing yards per attempt. Ultimately, it's a combination of factors. Is ultimately what Justin Herbert says specifically about his passing yards per attempt. It's a combination of factors, right? And how the defense is playing us and how we're transitioning within our offense from a personnel standpoint, right? So your Williams, your Allen is not 100%, right? And it's good to see, though, that you're finding a way. We're having to do this, find a way that fits our group week to week. I'm going to be very clear about something, guys. This is important, right? This is one of my biggest criticisms I've had with this coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball specifically, that are we game planning with the people we have? Brandon Staley clearly is saying that's what they're doing. They're trying to make the best game plan with the folks that are going to be on the field. And kudos to Mike Bandy for recovering that fumbled ball by Palmer, by the way. I mean, that was absolutely amazing. I mean, that was huge. Just a side note, right? I mean, he's such a gamer and a baller, right? But definitely not someone that's going to be like, an Allen or Williams in this offense so far moving forward. But having said that, everyone out there contributed, and Brandon Staley specifically said it's a team win. But again, it's what he's highlighting here is we are better when we're going to get them back in a variety of ways, and we could throw the ball downfield more with a Williams and with an Allen, with a Guyton. Unfortunately, he's out for the entire season at this point, right? So it's one of those situations where, because of the personnel we have, we are limited on what we can do or explosive plays, right? And he's ultimately saying that, right? And that's a big reason why his passing yards are down this year, right? And that's why he's doing a lot of checkdowns as well, too. It's interesting what he says here, though. When a team is playing two deep safety and zone or some type of shell coverage where there's 7 guys, ultimately you're looking at like dime coverage, right? You have to take the check down. Well, guess who pretty much invented or made this more in vogue? Brandon Staley. So ultimately, what he's saying is the NFL has really copied his defense and using it against us moving forward. That'll become more important when we start talking about the run game and the pass game specifically with this team and our philosophy moving forward with the passing game in general, right? So pretty interesting. So I'm going to go into this a little bit more too, but again, that's why Austin Eckler is getting so many check down balls, right? Is that they're taking away the deep pass. That's the whole point of the 2 high safeties is take away the deep pass. So you can't throw the ball deep, and you're going to struggle and say, well, okay, we have intermediate. And that's why a lot of the throws that have been long have been post outs to the sideline, so it's a little more stable and safe type of throw, with not a chance of getting intercepted. That makes sense. That's why you've seen a lot more of those from Herbert this year. But when you're checking it down, hopefully that Austin Eckler can get the ball and then check it down and run the ball up a little further, get some more yards after a catch. I suspect that's partially why we're not seeing a lot of Isaiah Spiller and really even JK at this point, right? I think they brought JK in. He only had a few touches, but they're not trying to. Eckler is just very good at that, right? That's why we're seeing a ton of Eckler, and he's just leading the league in receptions as a running back by like an exponential amount, right? So it'd be interesting to see how teams play him moving forward, because of those numbers. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But again, Herbert, 47 attempts, no turnovers, absolutely amazing. Very accurate, 3 touchdowns. They did well. Obviously, the 2-minute drill. And again, when let's the cool thing about these notes is it really gives you some ideas of what Brandon Staley is really thinking about, right? This is what he cares about. 3 touchdowns, playing well in the red zone, playing well in 2-minute. Those are the things that I'm looking at in terms of the passing game. Okay. So when it matters, did he do it? The answer is yes. Justin Herbert did it. And you can't disagree with that thought, right? You just can't. I mean, it's a very good situation, football. So we'll go into this a little bit. Don't really know specifically when the injury happened, but Will Clapp came in. He actually played very well. Me and my brother were there. I was like, wow, Will Clapp is out there doing a pretty good job. Kind of surprised. So pretty interesting. Apparently, Herbert got kicked in the shin. I think it was around the end of the second quarter. But anyways, so I'm going to go into run defense, and then we're going to talk about pass offense a little bit here as well too. So it's interesting. The run defense is interesting. Why I like this is it's really going into the philosophical mindset of Brandon Staley when we're stopping the team we're playing against. Okay, so let me just show you this. We'll go into this a little bit more. We had a tackle better yesterday. Of course, the tackling was pretty poor. Definitely missed tackles, all kinds of things. Now, then certainly the quarterback running, that's going to impact your yards, your run yardage. When he runs for 56 yards and had one design run beginning the second half, which kind of like a schemed run. Hats off to them. It was a good scheme. And then you got James Conner, who's a very good running back, right? He's not a bad running back, right? I think he's done a great job. And by the way, they have a really bad offensive line. The fact that they were able to run the way they have with that offensive line. I mean, they fired the offense coordinator last year after Mexico City, so they're a bit in disarray on that line for sure. Anyways, this is interesting too. Talking about philosophically detailing the run defense. Like, okay, so in short, what are they saying? What's more important, stopping the run or stopping the pass? Well, very quickly, Brandon Staley says stopping the pass is more important. Now, we'll go through some statistics, but you should read this paragraph. Again, the link is below if you want to take a look at it. So again, you have to assess each matchup philosophically and talk about how they're good, how they're bad, yada, yada. Now, the argument in the stopping the run is that it takes a lot of 5-yard runs to equal a 40-yard pass. And you have to start that with that premise, right? And that's a good point, right? That's a great point, right? That's why the NFL has become so pass heavy, because you're killing people downfield. Again, Brandon Staley's defense is all about stopping that 40-yard pass. He sells out on the pass. That's ultimately what he's saying here. Um, and I think there's some things here too. So okay, there are going to be some designs where the defensive backs, D backs have to tackle, and they have to tackle. Yesterday we held them to 190 yards throwing with all of those receivers and quarterbacks out there. Broadly, if you take a look at the NFL run defense in terms of where everyone is ranked and what they give up, the disparity between run yards and passing yards is huge. Okay, so here's the point. If you're the 24th ranked run defense versus the 24th ranked pass defense, go look at the difference. That's what it is in the NFL. In the same way in offense, no one talks about run offense. If you're the top 5 in NFL and NFL in passing, let's say you're bottom 5 in running, you're always going to gain a lot more yards than the team that runs for a lot and doesn't throw very many. That's our standpoint. So you look at a team like the Steelers, great example. They run first, pass second, always have. And that's why they don't score a lot of points. But their defense is very good. So they're hoping they score 21, 24 points. They think, okay, their defense is good enough to not give up 24, 4 points. So the argument that Brandon Staley is specifically saying here, if you are the 24th ranked pass defense in the league, but you're 24th ranked run defense doesn't hurt you as much, right? Pass defense would hurt you the most, right? If you can get that pass defense as good as possible, you are much better. Interesting statistics. So we're very good on like third and short, which is really interesting because clearly we could stop the run, but we're kind of choosing not to, if that makes any sense. So it's a little bit perplexing to some degree, but again, it's a lot of times me and James were talking about just some statistics at the game that we're very good at third and one and third and short, stopping the run. But man, third and longs, we get burned, right? And I think part of that is those intermediate, real quick check down passes are fairly open against our defense. So anyways, it's really being more stout in the red zone is really what Brandon Staley cares about. Bend, don't break, get tight in the red zone and go from there. Anyways, that's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of really cool tidbits in here. I suggest you read this as well too. So this is another good one too, right? So as far as our offense, okay, philosophically, it's our job to find the right combination of run and pass offensively. I don't want to bore you with a ton of details here, but there's a lot that is said here. I mean, it's extremely lengthy on a lot of this, but I'll give you sort of the whole point, right? And again, it's his job as a head coach to establish the run and pass effectively. Now, I would have note that I don't think we've done it effectively all year. I think passing, we're fine. Running the ball, we've been pretty bad. Now, the argument, though, is that we're not really emphasizing the run. See, to us, the check down, because Justin Herbert is so efficient, we're just viewing these screen passes and these check downs as essentially running plays, right? Let's try and get a deep pass. It's not there, check down, right? And Justin Herbert's so accurate that it doesn't matter, right? It's like, whatever, they'll catch the ball and get it moved forward, right? So it's an interesting philosophy difference, right? It's really a pass, but it's more like a run anyways. So I kind of find that interesting. So anyhow, so it says, hey, we got some timely runs at the late in the game, yada, yada. We're still continuing to find the right formula. And again, there are some matchup problems. Obviously, we don't have Jamari, we got Jamari Sawyer in there. Pipkins is in and out of the game. Corey Linsley, when he's been out, boy, he's had some struggles, And again, he's exactly right. It's a matchup league. Angles, space, and matchups. That's a big part of it. That's all. That's what football is: angles, space, and matchups. And so, you want to find your ways to win, and that's really what it boils down to: is making sure you fit the matchup against the team you're up against. So, hey, great example. The Cardinals are a blitz-heavy team. Guess what? Running the screen against a blitz-heavy team works very well. That's why we're doing a lot of screens at the end of the game, because they were blitzing us so heavily. You throw the screen, you get past the defense, you move forward, and you can make a very nice play, which we did quite a bit towards the end there. So it's pretty interesting checking that out. Um, right now, let's see. This is good. So I'm going to read this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the kicking game. So right now, we're at a stage where the output of running game hasn't been effective from a statistical standpoint. I would agree with that. But I think the way you have to try to run the ball and commit to running the ball, it's allowed us to play a certain way in the passing game. Ultimately, what he's saying is our running game is bad, but it's done enough to open up some things in the passing game. That's fine. That's fine. And right now, we're okay with that. Now, I think we're okay with that. Here's where I would have a problem with that. We're okay with that with a team like the Cardinals, who have a very similar type of defense as the Chargers, right? Okay, bend, don't break. But again, as you saw when you play the Niners, when you play the Chiefs, it's much more difficult to win against a team like that is very good at stopping the run and very good at stopping the pass. Um, right now, the Chargers defensively and offensively are selling out on stopping the pass and not really caring too much about the run, right? So that's where we get a little bit, you know, wonky for sure. So this is interesting too. The mortar kick, that's what they called it. So the final kick that we kicked to them, which pinned him, I believe. I think it was in the 10 or the 15, fourth quarter, and then we get the ball back, and then we had the big drive to win the game. So what they mean by a mortar kick is basically kicking the ball really high, but putting it in an area where the coverage gives you time to go down there, right? And again, it wasn't a super long punt, but it was an opportunity for them to make sure the coverage goes down. They cannot advance the ball further. By the way, we're number one in special teams this year. Number one, statistically speaking, absolutely amazing. Special teams, we are just killing it this season, guys. And it's because they game plan pretty heavy on it, right? And again, I think it's partially why we haven't gone for it on fourth down as often as we have this season. So we're so good on special teams. It's really become an offensive weapon for our team in flipping the field. So I could see why we haven't gone for it more on fourth down. But anyways, so anyways, there was some other things that were said, but they thought that we might do an onside type of kick that could type of happen, but it is kind of an onside kick because what happens is the ball's up in the air and you hope it goes to a person that's not the main punt returner, and maybe they fumble the ball, they're not holding the ball very well. Anyways, I don't want to go too deep into that, but again, you're burning clock, and it gives you a lot of hang time. So that's a good way of looking at it. Okay, so anyways, yeah, Ryan Ficken really sat down and they had a good conversation to make that decision moving forward. I think it was a good call, right? Again, I think maybe it might have used up a little time, but at the end of the day, it really made sure that they had no ability to run the ball back, right? I mean, if you watch the Steelers and the Colts game, the Colts were just abysmal in the first and second quarter, I believe, and then they had that run back. I believe it was in the second quarter, maybe it was right after the half. Man, that guy ran it back almost like it was like 70 yards and just totally got the Colts offense, going. It was just amazing. So, anyways, so pretty interesting. So, special teams is important, right? And I think it's a big part of, what's made us successful this year specifically. And my hat's off to Ryan Ficken. I mean, he's been absolutely amazing, talking about this. So, anyways, I don't want to go too much into this. Again, the whole point that, again, the mortar kick was a very good call. It just gave you an opportunity, to run the clock and take advantage, so you can try and close out the game, which is exactly what we did. We had enough time and we made it happen. We executed that 2-minute drill so much better. I don't know if you guys watched the Colts game. They did such a bad job, and Saturday, first time head coach, he was they just did not manage the clock well, but boy, we handled that like perfect when we scored that, and then obviously the 2-point conversion was absolutely incredible. So anyways, again, talking about the Cardinals blitzing, they're one of the highest blitzing teams in the NFL, just so you know. And that's a big part of what they do, right? And yes, a lot of different pressures, a lot of different zone defenses. I felt like it was good adjustment in the game. I thought that it was very effective for us, right? I mean, the screen pass is a perfect way to go against a heavy blitzing team, and that's what the Cardinals are, right? So DeAndre Carter, look, he's an invaluable player for us. Just a true example for professional. I mean, this guy was teaching, guys. We signed him. I think he was teaching. he was either teaching college or he was teaching high school, something of that nature. And we re-signed him, and man, he's just been absolutely amazing for us. And so, look, he's earned trust with Justin Herbert. I'm just excited that he's on our team. He's just been absolutely, he's been healthy. Oh, thank God he's on our team. And it was funny because a lot of people on our final podcast are talking about getting more wide receivers. I do think we need another wide receiver. I think we need one stud guy that can come in and be groomed up. I think Palmer's good, but he's not a Williams or Allen good. And DeAndre is good, but not a Williams or Allen good, right? We need another Williams or Allen good type of wide receiver that can step for us as well too. So anyways, he's just been amazing. I've just been very happy with him. I think he's done such a great job in special teams. Just across the board, he's been incredible. Yeah, and this is some more information on Mike Davis. Yeah, so apparently his injury occurred in practice. He was defending a 9 route on the sideline. Um, you know, it is what it is, right? Bottom line, he's a great guy, man. I mean, no flinch. I think we're thinking about doing a shirt here that says "No Flinch Chargers," and we got a lot of shirt ideas that we're going to throw out there as well too. So we'll keep talking about that moving forward. But we'll look out for that one, guys. Anyways, I don't want to talk too much about Mike Davis, but dude, he got a game ball, absolutely amazing. And look, this coaching staff kind of put him to the side, right? I mean, we signed J.C. Jackson, bit of a slap in the face of Mike Davis, and he stepped in and he was a true professional. He's been kicking ass, man. And you have to be thankful for him. Again, I know quite a bit about Mike Davis, guys. He went to BYU. He was benched his senior year, undrafted free agent, literally went to the combine hoping to play. Chargers picked him up, and he's just fought for everything he's had, and he's continuing fighting. And look, he's doing everything with what he has, man, everything. And so, he's battled through a lot of adversity, and kudos to him, man. I mean, I love Mike Davis. I love seeing BYU players do well, and he's just one of those guys that is absolutely incredible. I went to BYU myself, so it's a big part of my collegiate career, right? So, and just like Mike Davis, right? I think as a coach, you're always trying to point out the example of your players playing tough and rugged and doing it right. And I thought he played well yesterday. And look, that is a huge compliment coming from Brandon Staley, because there was some discussions, guys, and there's some videos, some of our older videos, that we might have let Mike Davis go because of signing J.C. Jackson. I mean, we're paying him like $7 million a year. Like, he was our number one guy last season. So, probably there were some discussions about trading him off. I mean, I really think that could have happened. Or probably it did happen. So anyways, it's pretty interesting. And guys, the Chargers, there were so many fans at that game. Dude, I swear it was 50-50. And look, there was a lot of people. I do not believe there really is a conversation there. There are no Charger fans out there. All right. I'm going to say this. LA fans are fair weather fans, right? Go look at the Rams game. Let's watch the Rams-Chargers game at the end of the season. The Rams are having a bad season. I promise you there'll be more Charger fans than Rams fans there. Promise you. Promise you. But that's LA. That's LA. You got the Lakers. You got hockey. You got soccer. There's a million different sports people could cheer for, right? And they're just going to cheer with the teams that are doing well. They're fair weather fans, man. And I hate to say it that way, but that's the truth. And even in San Diego, guys, we could not fill Jack Murphy Stadium or Qualcomm Stadium at the end there, because look, if your team's not winning, people don't want to show up. They don't want to pay tickets and pay for tickets. It's frustrating. I mean, if you're a Cardinals fan at that game, guys, I saw the way people's faces looked after that game. It was the exact same face I had after the Niners game at SoFi. I mean, I chatted with quite a few people, and people saw me after the game like, man, I could tell you're upset. I was like so angry the way that game went down. That's just part of the game, guys. People don't want to feel pain. But look, it was great to see the fans travel. The tailgating was awesome. Definitely not as good as Thunder Rally, but I'll tell you what, it was a mini Thunder Rally. It was still just an absolute blast. All those guys down there, Los Rayos, 602 crew, Bolt Gang, man, can't even remember all of the clubs down there, man. Honestly, it was just great. There was so many people there. It was just amazing. So anyways, travel with the team if you can, guys. JT Woods, he got burned on that one play, man. He's getting better. He's learning. Look, I think, He really comes out more for dime packages when you're running a lot of deep coverage. Um, this is good, and again, this is a good insight into the way our coaching staff thinks about players playing. Did a good job for us on special teams. If you take a look at his special teams reps involved in special teams, he did a nice job. Continuing to improve, experiencing more. Hopefully, a game takes a little bit better. Now, I want to talk about this just for a second, guys. I know this video is getting a little long. Where are we at right now? We're about 25 minutes into this. Okay, so it is hard to be a rookie in the NFL and start day one. It is very hard. Very hard. Not many people can do it. JT Woods is a bit of a project, right? I never thought he was going to come in and take Gilman's job or Nas's job. Now, I think he will have a shot of being a starter next year. I don't know that we're going to sign. I can't remember if it's. I think it's Nas. We might not have Nas back next season. Probably draft another safety, I would assume. But we have a lot of defensive reps, right? We got Leonard, we got Jasir Taylor, Jasir Adderley. Wow, awesome. JT Woods, obviously, and we drafted a lot of defensive backs, right? There's a lot of players that we could go after. So, what I would like to see is a little more of a physical type safety, like a Derwin James. But let's face it, guys, Derwin James is an extremely unique type of person. JT Woods going to be more finesse. Now, I did make this comment. You know who I'd love to have be our safety? Mike Davis. I've thought about this a lot. I would love Mike Davis to be our safety. He's tall, he's strong, he's physical, and he could catch the ball, right? Like, I think he could be a very good safety. If somehow you could switch him there, maybe if JC Jackson comes back, we could move Davis. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens next season, but I think that would be awesome to see. Who knows? Think about this. You got think about this just for a second, guys. Think of the height we'd have at this point. You put JT Woods out there with Mike Davis and Derwin James, bro, super physical, super fast. Dude, I could really see Mike Davis being a really good safety. So anyway, something to think about. Just kind of what are your thoughts? Put it down below. Let me know what you guys think if you think he could be a good safety. I don't want to go too deep into this. Like Herbert, his decision making, Bryce Callahan, he did a great job. I think he's awesome. And he goes into this a little bit more, right? Like when you start talking about covering the Cardinals, and a lot of people poo-poo the Cardinals. They have a very good team. Okay, they are a very, very good team, right? Okay, so perfect example. Look at the wide receiver group over here. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins, incredible. AJ Green, incredible. Hollywood Brown, incredible. Robbie Anderson, incredible. And Trey McBride, who was a second-round pick. I mean, these guys are all first-round picks. I mean, guys, they are hard to cover. I mean, luckily, Kyler Murray is not exactly the most accurate quarterback, but I think that's a big reason why, they didn't have an amazing game, right? And we did a good job taking away a lot of those passes. But again, they were all on that field, right? That is tough, right? They have a quality group over there. Anyways, very, very good situation. I do think the fourth quarter, our defense was a lot better. I think they did a much better job. I think they did do enough. That's the right word, guys. But again, one of my frustrations has always been that, we wanted to see a dominant performance, and we didn't quite see that, but we did enough. I don't know. I think it's interesting. So I would have I saw Gilman struggling a lot in this game, so I would disagree with Brandon Staley here. He missed some serious tackles. Again, he's a smaller guy too, right? He's not the biggest dude, and again, that's partially why I like the idea of Davis being back there, next to Woods, right? I think Davis and Woods would be a very good combination. I don't know. He was. I think that he did some good things and some bad things. Well, maybe we'll just leave it at that. So, but again, obviously, when you're playing next to Derwin James, it's a little bit hard to. It's a little hard to compare them, right? Because Derwin James is just absolutely amazing. So, all All right, guys, let's wrap this up. This video is getting a little long-winded, and I'm right at 30 minutes. I don't want to be too much deep in the weeds in this. Look, one of the things I'll say at this point, guys, is I wanted to see a dominant performance. We did not see that. Okay, we got to win, but we saw a good performance. We saw a team that won. We saw a team that played well together. But at the end of the day, it's tough. It's tough seeing the team not exactly do what you wanted to do, but we still got the win. Thank God we got the win. So again, I think there's a lot we're still improving on. I think we're looking good. We got to handle our business against the Raiders for sure. I think one of the games that's going to be really big is the Bills-Patriots game, I think on Thursday night. That's going to be a big one, guys, for the playoff perspective. I mean, think about this. The Bills are not looking amazing right now. Patriots are looking pretty good. Personally, I'd rather see the Bills win that game. But who knows, right? I mean, we'll see how that plays out. That probably would work out best for us if they do, in the playoff perspective. But guys, what do you guys think? Do you think, how do you think our team is progressing? Are we doing well? Are we doing bad? I mean, obviously we have some things we need to focus on and get better at, of course. But at the end of the day, I think we did good. I think it'll definitely matter what we do against the Raiders this week. So, guys, again, if this is your first time, consider liking and subscribing. Again, we'd love to continue chatting with all these Charger fans out there. I know there's quite a few, but we want to communicate with you and have a conversation. So, guys, as always, I'm Andrew Pope Rose. See you guys in the next one.